Welcome back to another episode of the Always About People Show. My name is Chris Allen, and I'm the host of our show, where we talk about all topics related to people within the workplace, but it goes beyond just the workplace, because the conversations that we have around people influence you in whatever role you may play. Mom, dad, brother, sister, parent. I just think husband, spouse, wife. Again, how we operate as leaders affects so many areas of our lives. And so we wanted to take just a few moments in today's episode to talk about this idea of how to create psychological safety. For those of you who are joining us on various platforms, we go live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn, and we're experimenting with this show. Different lengths, different times when we go live. And so bear with us as we try to find the best way to communicate some of these ideas to help you. But again, as I mentioned, today's episode, how to create psychological safety. You may be wondering, what is psychological safety? What is this topic? What is this theme that I hear so much about? I'd like to tell you that back in 2012, 10 years ago, Google did a study that they called Project Aristotle. In this study, they looked across hundreds of their own internal teams to see what would make effective teams. They looked at the traits and the characteristics and the qualities of the teams, and they went in with an assumption. They went in with a bias. And the hypothesis that they entered the study with was that there would be certain common characteristics. There would be correlations between what makes one team effective and what makes another team effective. They thought that they might see commonalities between where people went to school, their common interests, what they did on the weekends, how they operated within the workplace, maybe some of their skills, strengths, passions. At the end of the initial study, they came away with no real conclusive evidence on what forms the most effective teams. They took that research and combined it with some other research that was happening at different universities across the country, and they came up with this theme that emerged called social norms. Definition of a social norm is just the way that we operate, the unspoken, unwritten rules of operation within any team. And they went back to the initial data that they had collected, and they started to look for social norms. They started to look for themes in the patterns in the way that people operated, the unspoken, unwritten rules of how teams operated. And Google came up with 5 main themes that they saw, 5 main social norms across the most effective teams. And again, they titled this Project Aristotle. You can Google it and find out all kinds of information about the study. But what they came away with was that really effective teams have dependability, that the individuals on these teams can depend on one another. People do what they say. They found that effective teams have structure and clarity. People know where they fit in the team. They know their roles. They understand what makes them effective, and they know how to win every day. They also found that teams had individual meaning, and that means that each individual on the team does meaningful work. They understand the purpose of their individual role and the work that they accomplish, and it's meaningful to them individually. The fourth is impact, that as a team, they're having an impact beyond themselves, that the impact is greater than just the team and the work that they're doing, but they're actually impacting other people's lives. And the fifth, but not the fifth in terms of least important, the fifth in terms of most important, is what they called psychological safety. Psychological safety is the ability for me to say what I need to say, to communicate what I need to communicate, without fear of retribution, penalty, without fear of somebody taking it out on me, without the fear of nonverbal communication from some of my colleagues, without the fear of kind of being pushed aside because of my feelings, thoughts, but that people would listen to me, that they would value those thoughts, that they would actually seek out my opinion on things. And so that's the definition of psychological safety. And we know that psychological safety creates trust amongst teams. So for you leaders that are watching this show, I want to give you just one really practical tool that you can use to create psychological safety with the individuals on your team. And we've spent a lot of time in previous episodes talking about the importance of one-on-one conversations, the importance of valuing the individual. And today I just want to give you one simple tool. It's so simple. I hope that you can use it today. I hope that whenever you're watching this show, that you'll take this tool, you'll engage in a conversation with somebody today using this simple framework. And it's just this: I need more of, I need less of. And so in some of the coaching conversations that we as a consulting company engage in is, we work with companies across the country. And oftentimes when we're coaching with executives, we might get a leader and somebody on their team together and engage in a conversation. In fact, just last week, we engaged in a conversation with a founder and his individual divisional leader. And we had this conversation. We used this as the framework to get into some deeper conversations. The human mind is an amazing thing. And when we engage in questions, it can open up the safety between two people. So here's how it would work. You as the leader go into a meeting and we say, hey, in this conversation, we want to engage in I need more of, I need less of. And in the context of the conversation, you can just ask somebody on your team, hey, listen, I need to know what you need more of. That's probably a best place to start, is I need more of. And both parties get to share. Hey, listen, leader, I need more of your time. I need more of you just reaffirming that I'm doing the right thing, because sometimes I feel like I might not be on track. Sometimes I feel like I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I need to hear from you that I'm actually doing what you want me to do. So I need more verbal affirmation. And then it would go the other way too, from the leader to the individual. Hey, I need more accountability. I need you to step up into a greater level of responsibility with this specific thing. And so what happens in that conversation is that in just the framework of asking a simple question, and in the framework of saying, I need more of, the conversation often gets into some really deep psychological safety, as you can hash out conversations that you've been waiting to have, maybe haven't been safe enough to have, maybe you just haven't had the context to have that conversation. But by just simply framing it as I need more of, you're basically saying, here's what I need from you. But it allows feedback to go both ways. So I'm going to allow one party to say, I need more of this, and then I'll be able to express, I need more from you in this. The second part of this is, I need less of, which is essentially saying, hey, there are some things that are happening, things that you're either doing, saying, ways that you're behaving, that are actually taking energy from me, that are actually draining me, that aren't beneficial, they're not increasing my performance, and I need to communicate that with you. And in this conversation, in framing it simply as I need less of, it creates a safe environment for me to express, hey, here are some things that I could do without. Here are a few things that have actually affected my performance. And I think that it's just an easy way to get into conversation. So a leader could say, I need less of you coming to me and bringing me problems. I would love for you to bring me more solutions. Now, in that simple conversation, as a leader, I was able to express, I oftentimes realize that when you come to me, you're bringing me problems, and I feel a level of responsibility like I have to solve it. Instead, I would love for you to bring me the problem, but bring me the solutions that you've already thought through, and I will just engage in a conversation. And if I have any thoughts, feelings, or feedback for you, I'll give it to you. But please bring me more solutions. Now, the other way around would be, okay, I need less of you telling me what to do or commanding me in what to do, or I need less of constant communication, or I need less text messages. I need less emails late at night. I need you to tell me, are you looking for me to respond to your emails and notifications at night, or do I have the freedom to respond in the morning? What happens in these conversations when you frame it as I need more of, I need less of, we have found that the conversation opens up and two individuals will get very deep into some communication and some feedback for one another that hasn't been opened up before. That is the definition of psychological safety. Because within the framework of simply saying, I need more of, I need less of, all of a sudden I'm able to express some thoughts, some feelings, some opinions without fear of what's going to happen if I communicate them, because it's fair. We know that in both directions, from leader to individual and from individual to leader, we will be expressing, I need more of, I need less of. Listen, that was just the tip for today. Our conversation, the title of this episode was How to Create Psychological Safety. And we believe there's just a really simple way of doing that in one-on-one conversations. I hope that you'll take this simple tool and use it today with the individuals on your team. I need more of, I need less of. It will open up conversations that you have been waiting to have. While you're the leader, it will also open up conversations that an individual has been waiting to have. If you are an individual trying to create psychological safety, maybe you can even recommend this framework for a conversation. And I'll let you decide the timing of that and how to actually open up that opportunity. But with this simple framework, we've seen it create incredible psychological safety between two people. And we know that psychological safety ultimately creates trust. It creates trust, but it also creates clarity. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Always About People Show. We hope that we're providing practical, insightful, useful tools, tips, and conversations to make you a more effective people leader in this environment. Thank you for joining us on whatever platform you joined us. And as always, feel free to leave comments, ask questions. We promise to respond. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.